Hello, everybody. This is JohnnyCajxrt doing a reading of a fanfiction called Futa, Your Luna. I'm sure the link will be in the description. If not, please ask Arisoner to give you one. This is the description on the description on the FanFiction page. When Twilight and Luna have a study session with less emphasis on studying and more on lovemaking, Luna discovers Twilight's book on Futa. Wanting to try it out, Luna gets to have an extra package packing quite a bit of heat. Now time for her to try out her new foot long on a certain unicorn mare, and maybe some BDSM on the side as well. Luckily,
I think this might be a good fan fiction. It might be very well written.
Luckily, this is by a guy that writes Clop fics that are actually enjoyable.
Enjoyable. Is that good or bad, Jeremy?
I won't puke my guts out reading this. And luckily, it's also a one-shot.
One-shot indeed!
Chapter 1. Different Experience. Wow, Camelot sure is beautiful at night, Twilight whispered, her eyes sparkling in the moonlight as she gazed in awe at the city below. The glint of numerous lights from the city clashed with the star-studded sky to create a beautiful combination of lights as far as the eye could see. Yes, quite so. Getting used to the view was never a bother when I first arrived here. Luna spoke from within her chambers, glancing back at Twilight, who was overlooking the city from the balcony. The eager unicorn was leaning over the railing, her mane blowing in the breeze. I would usually stare down at the city from my room in the castle, but I've never been this high up before, Twilight explained, dipping her head low and squinting hard to see if she could get a better look at the ponies in the streets below. But they all resembled ants to her. Now I know what it's like for Rainbow Dash when she's flying. Or Celestia and I, said Luna, chuckling, walking over to her unicorn companion near the railing. The two stood side by side as Luna's moon rose slowly in the sky. A certain calmness and serenity befell the pair as the night sky shimmered with beauty. It was filled with many wonders and curiosities about far-off galaxies or planets beyond Equestria's reach. A sudden gust of cold air made Twilight shiver slightly. Luna quickly solved her friend's shivers with a wing arched over her back to keep her warm. Twilight started blushing from the tickle of Luna's feathers and heat against her body. So, Princess, what did you need me for again? She muttered. The request for Twilight's presence at the castle was mysterious, but the invitation from Luna herself made more sense. They both had a special relationship with this sort of thing. When Twilight read the letter about a request to visit Canterlot Castle, in Luna's writing no less, she nearly went ecstatic in anticipation. Of course, they had to keep up appearances. While a princess having a relationship with Celestia's student wouldn't be that big of a controversy, they attempted to avoid the worst of what the media and high-class noble ponies of the kingdom would turn into. Plus, keeping their relationship a secret was pretty erotic.
Oh my. Go on.
Oh, well enough, said Luna, chuckling, slowly brushing the feathers of her wing down the small of Twilight's back. The unicorn shivered, not because of the weather. I believe it was something to do with a study session. Ah, yes, Twilight said, with the adorable blush on her cheeks noticed by Luna. Studying, how could I forget? At least you didn't forget to bring some books, Luna noted, glancing back at the large pack full of tomes from Twilight's library. Making it convincing, aren't you? Twilight's face was fully flushed with red at this point. Yeah, well, I just grabbed a couple random books from some shelves when I left. Well, when I left. Shut up.
Reading skills.
Well, no point in not having a good book or two, right? Said Luna, leaving Twilight's side and trotting at a happy pace back indoors. Twilight nearly let out a whimper from the sudden absence of Luna and her warm yet ticklish wings around her side. But instead, she followed the princess back inside, curious to see what she meant. Luna was currently lifting up the saddlebag with a glow of her magic, glancing inside its contents to see what books Twilight brought along. Princess, that really isn't necessary. What, did you bring me something naughty? Luna chuckled, withdrawing the first book from the bag and reading off its title. Let's see. Mare of a Fiery Heart. In hindsight, grabbing random novels in the romance section of the library wasn't the best of ideas, especially one that cheesy. Flipping to a random page, Luna started reading a line while Twilight stared with embarrassed eyes. With each powerful thrust, he of pure lustful urges down the nape of her sweet, drenched neck. She wanted him, every single bit of his wonderful self inside, to feel their love in the most pure, natural, and downright dirty way possible. And he wanted it too, as his magnificent... Okay, that's enough, Twilight cut in. Her cheeks an even brighter shade of rosy red. Luna was with her. What? I was just admiring your taste in literature, Luna teased, sticking her tongue out playfully. Thanks to Twilight, the Moon Princess had slowly cast away her awkward shell. Finally, she was being more sociable with her fellow ponies, and more playful as well. Can we just go back to cuddling? Twilight asked hopefully, wanting the embarrassment to end as quickly as possible. And just cut through our study session? We might as well be sort of truthful about it, Luna reminded her, a devious smirk on her face as she dug out another book. While Twilight never felt truly comfortable with lying about their relationship, they at least made each of their secret outings of passionate lovemaking somewhat based on the truth. This made lying easier. Before Twilight could argue, Luna was reading the next book's title, Tales of the Star-Crossed Lovers. Ooh, quite the romantic, aren't you, Twilight? I try my best, Twilight muttered, knowing that this book wasn't much better in the romance department than the other one. With cardinal moans, the mare lay on her backside, feeling her lower lips being pleasured delightfully by the graceful tongue of her lover. Her husband would be home any minute, but that only added onto the depravity of what they were doing. With another flick of her tongue, and she knew she couldn't hold back her pressing urges much longer. With a scream of pure ecstasy, her nethers, and that's enough of that, Twilight spoke in, swiping the book away with her magic before Luna could read further. Oh, come on. Just
darn.
Luna asked, pouting slightly and trembling her lower lip. The infamous princess puppy dog look. To cause heart attacks to even the most jaded and cold-hearted ponies around.
Hey, Jeremy.
And of Twilight's greatest weaknesses. Please. Ugh, fine. But only one more. Oh, thank you, Luna proclaimed happily, Twilight rolling her eyes as Luna withdrew a final book.
Hey, Jeremy.
What?
That last book, what was the name of it? I'm gonna see if it's in the library.
Let's see. The Anatomy Studies of Futanization.
Oh.
Twilight's eyes nearly popped out of her sockets. Did she not notice pulling that book out? Flipping through the pages, Luna's eyes soon grew wide as Twilight's, her pupils scanning the text with rampant attention, including the diagrams. One thing she noted was they were drawn with careful attention to detail. Both ponies' cheeks were practically inflamed by now. Wow, didn't know you were into this, Luna muttered, turning the book sideways as a sheet of paper folded out, just like a porno magazine. I'm not. That was just in the library. I swear. Twilight tried her best to assure her. Every pony had a secret fetish. So what if Twilight's was Futa? There was just something arousing with a mixing of a beautiful mare with an erect cock. World's really. Shame, because I find it very sexy, Luna purred, licking her lips as she admired the drawing before her. The princess fluttered her lashes at Twilight. Cocky.
Wait, hold on. Is Luna really getting off here to a factual book?
Apparently.
Like, I'm getting aroused in sex ed.
Okay, will you let me finish?
Go.
Yeah, it's fine. Continue.
Go.
Which is why I brought it, of course. Yeah, Twilight could have pulled that over better. Luna's gentle giggles pretty much proved Twilight wasn't fooling her. Oh, so you want to try some Futa out now? Luna asked, giving the unicorn a hungry look. Those luscious curves, fluff, a good amount of pudge ass, and a bookish face that's cuter than Twilight gulped. Oh, well, I've never tried it out before, Twilight explained, nervous under Luna's lustful gaze. Truthfully, Twilight had always been worried what exactly would happen if she casted the Futa spell on herself. She knew the spell perfectly, but pulling it off was what put her on edge. What would a dick feel like? More specifically, what would having a dick instead of being stuffed with one be like? Those questions and more put her off from doing the spell herself. Why not on me, then? Twilight was taken aback at the suggestion. Whoa, seriously? She asked, unbelieving that the princess could possibly degrade herself with such a spell made for sexual activity. Sure, Luna said with a shrug. Why not? We've experimented with some pretty strange stuff before. Remember that one time with the paddle? Twilight's face turned deeper red than before, her recalling the memory. And the banana? Yeah, I do. It took forever to clean up the mess. Only because I made you clean it up with your tongue.
Oh!
Strutting with
Oh.
closer to Twilight. Twilight noted the princess's extravagant body, truly one of royal standards. Slender legs, thick thighs, and an ass more beautiful than the moon itself. Not to mention the beautiful face that graced the sky with her magic each night. Twilight swore she could see the stars in her eyes. Well, in all actuality, the stars were in her mane, but still. Give me 1 second. Be right back.
Do you have to jerk Jeremy?
No, I think he has to puke.
God.
This is the best fucking fanfiction ever.
Hey, dog.
Yes.
Larry Longston approves.
Oh boy.
Hey, Doug, I need your help.
With what?
I kind of have a drinking problem. Sometimes I drink a little too much every day, and I'm starting to get worried it might affect my health. And
Well-
you know, my girlfriend Mary Sue doesn't really like it. So I might, could you help me?
You should,
Isn't this?
you should lay down the line on Mary Sue.
I'm not sure though. She might not like it if I try to take control of our relationship.
Is she in control of the relationship?
No, I mean we just kind of share the relationship. I mean that's how it works, right? I got the idea for this personality.
Mary Sue?
No. I was on TF2, and all these people had the weirdest, most disturbing names. So I decided at first just to change my name to Larry.
Sorry about that. I needed to get a drink.
Okay. I think that's alcoholic beverage.
I think you did a little more than get a drink.
No, I just got some milk.
Oh.
Sorry, my throat was getting
Oh,
dry.
I got milk.
My throat was getting dry, and yeah, my AC just went out. And in Houston, that's not a good thing.
Oh.
Oh God, your AC went out.
Yeah, so it's 80 degrees in here.
Yay! Humidity to the
During,
max.
like the noon or afternoon.
All right, let's continue. Giggling, Twilight picked up the book in her magic and flipped to the bookmark page she made for the Futa spell. So you seriously want to go through with this? To answer, Luna laid on her back, mimicking a cat with her position, her forelegs resting on her chest while her back legs sticking out in the air. Slowly, Luna spread them apart, letting Twilight get a good look. I'll take that as a yes, Twilight muttered, her eyes glued to the beautiful sight of her lover's delicious-looking pussy. Her mouth instantly watered, the faint scent of Luna's arousal reaching her. Luna only smiled wider, glad to see Twilight being as eager as she was for the main event. Breathing in and out slowly to calm her racing thoughts, Twilight reread the spell to focus it in her mind. Transformation spells were always a tricky form of magic, since screwing it up could lead to rather drastic side effects. The Futa spell was easier than most, though, since it didn't take so much as change as an add-on to what was already present. The male sexual organ had been studied exclusively to create a close enough magical substitute for the spell. It even got the semen part right, though fertilization through the Futa spell was impossible, since it was only magically made, not from an actual host body. Walking over closer to find the specific spot for where she should put the spell, Twilight noticed Luna was already getting wet. I find it kinky when you stare at me like that, Luna said, already guessing what Twilight was thinking. So hurry up.
She was
I wanna
thinking
get it
about
on
popcorn.
Nodding her head quickly, Twilight's horn glowed with a fierce brightness as she planned out the spell. Now, Luna, you may feel a bit of a pinch when it happens. The futinization process was actually a dual effect of the magic working on the sexual. First, the female sexual organ was shrunk, though it was much more complicated than just that explanation. It was mostly just the outside that shrunk while the internal organs were left unchanged. That left the male sexual organ room to appear. At first, it appeared as a small bump in Luna's skin, poking out and causing the princess to giggle at the ticklish process. Soon, the bump protruded out more, spreading in size as Twilight's magic went to work. As the bump continued to grow to what seemed like a cylinder-like object, another bump appeared along right with it, above Luna's clit. This one spread out in more of an oval shape, not growing as long as the one taking place above it. The magic glowed brighter, the rod now taking on characteristics of a proper penis, veins along its length, a flat head with a tip appearing along with it, and a much darker tone of color than the rest of her. Now near black, it was completely hairless, still growing in length as it widened out. The ball sack was fully grown now, resting right over the lips of her diminished in-size vagina, and with the final light of her magic, Twilight was done. The unicorn sighed in relief, a bit of sweat having appeared on her brow from how spent she was using such precision magic. Sitting on her rump, she inspected Luna's new dong to see how well the magic worked. The first thing she noticed was that it was much larger than she originally intended it to. Over a foot long, close to 14 inches in length. Quite impractical for any sexual activity, really, though she did make it a proper width at least. Reaching out with a hoof, Twilight stroked it slowly, seeing if she got the texture right. Well, it felt like a real dick. It had the proper heat and throbbing action beneath her hoof.
That's nice.
It actually twitched a bit when her hoof ran up and down its length. So not accounting the ridiculous size, it was fine. Luna couldn't hold back her laughter, the touch and feel of her new sexual organ driving her near ecstatic with tickles. Twilight, she started, taking in a breath to control the shakiness. Don't stop. Keep going. Gulping hard and nodding her head, Twilight did as Luna asked. Sitting down before the princess, Twilight used both her hooves to properly travel the length. The princess let out a mix of moans and giggles, the newly found sexual pleasure still a shocking experience to feel. Soon, Luna's magical foot-long dong was fully erect, twitching in excitement as Twilight's hooves explored every inch of its surface. With another moan of desire escaping Luna's lips, she asked, Twilight, can you lick it?
Oh, yeah.
Sheepishly, Twilight leaned forward
Jeremy.
and planted a small cat lick at the tip.
Jeremy,
What?
Larry Longston approves.
Tasting a bit of the pre-cum on her tongue.
Oh, God.
Like this, Luna? She asked, still stroking her off. Yeah, just like that, she said. Her hooves resting on her belly as Twilight's skilled hooves did their job. Twilight slid her
Jeremy?
tongue. What?
Seriousness. Can we do the sound effects?
What?
Me and Doug do the sound effects.
No!
Yes.
Oh, God, Olivia saw.
Oh, baby. Schwartz.
Okay, let's go on, Jeremy.
Twilight slid her tongue further out, swirling it around in small circles around the head. Every once in a while, her tongue would return to lick the tip, getting a good taste of the pre-cum before her tongue wrapped itself around the head once more. Luna bit her lip, wincing slightly as a new sort of soreness entered the area Twilight was licking at. It wasn't exactly unpleasant, more like it was just such a new experience she didn't know what to feel. What she did know, however, was that she was leaking more pre-cum from her tip, while the lady part was still dripping much more than before. Seeing how much Luna was enjoying it just by the loud moans she could hear, Twilight decided to double the pace. Ever so slowly, she lowered her head, wrapping her lips around Luna's width, as she took the entire head of her member into her mouth. With a hiss, Luna arched her back, the wet warmth of Twilight's mouth feeling like pure bliss on her newly created cock. Moans escaped Twilight's throat as she took in more of Luna's length, the hum from her voice causing Luna's legs to shiver in desire once she felt it. Oh, yeah, just like that, Luna muttered, waves of pleasure resonating from her shaft to travel up her spine and beat against her brain in waves of orgasmic ecstasy.
Oh my God.
You're so good at this.
Orgasmic.
You're so good at this. Have you ever done this before? Luna asked with a naughty smile on her face. Twilight answered by wrapping her tongue around Luna's shaft like a snake, her head beginning to bob back and forth at a steady rhythm. Luna could barely control the shaking in her legs, her dick quivering in Twilight's mouth as the princess let out moan after moan in sync with Twilight's head bobbing. Twilight knew that fitting Luna's entire length down her throat was physically impossible, even for the most experienced deep throater out there. She instead opted to go for her usual routine and get her off by going slightly over half its length, using her tongue to lick everything that entered her mouth. Along with this, she used her hoof to pleasure the other half she couldn't reach with her lips, just to make sure Luna was properly treated. Twilight,
Usual routine.
Twilight, it won't stop twitching, Luna shouted, a new yet still familiar feeling encompassing her as she felt her endurance reach its limit. I can't hold on much longer. Had the quivering and large amount of pre-cum dripping from her head. Twilight already knew Luna was about to release a load. Now was the moment to see if she got the coming part of the spell right. The taste would have to be what she was most looking forward to.
Twilight is not Rainbow Dash.
She
does.
With a final loud grunt, Luna felt a weird sensation of her penis tickling and heating up like never before, almost as if lava was shooting out, though much lessened in heat. Her hips bucked forward, and even more of her length stuck itself down Twilight's throat. Twilight gagged slightly and prepared herself for what was about to come. I see what you did there. The first load of semen shot down her throat like a geyser. Looks like her calculations on the semen discharge were off by a very large amount. At the rate it was going, it was practically a fire hose. Eventually, Twilight had to pull Luna's dick out of her mouth, the cum clogging up in her throat and forcing her to cough. Once it had left her mouth with a satisfying pop, it didn't stop ejecting load after load all over Twilight's face.
Hey, Jeremy.
What?
What if one of your family members walked by right now?
I don't even want to know. The unicorn had to scrunch up her eyes to prevent herself from being blinded by the white gooiness. In a matter of seconds, her face was completely covered, along with most of her chest and forelegs. Soon enough, though, Luna's dick was spent, going flaccid as the tall mountain of veiny muscle limped downward. Twilight blinked.
That's hot.
Twilight blinked, her face more white than purple at this point. Smacking her lips, she got a good taste of the semen she had just swallowed. Salty, with a hint of sweetness. Actually, make it more of a dollop. She was definitely off on the right components of the sperm flavor. That was for sure, but still, pretty sweet. Looking over herself, Twilight felt rather shameful lying there in a pool of cum. Well, more like a puddle. There was no way any stallion could ever be able to unleash such a large load in such a short amount of time. It was like a tacky porno, really. This much semen with a dick this long. Oh, that was... Luna rested her head on the ground. Breathing in large lungfuls of air, she floated on the high of dual orgasms. First she had squirted from her vagina, the effect of feeling pleasured and coming apparently playing out down there as well. Then from her penis, which still had a sore feeling to it with a slight edge of fuzziness that made her balls feel ticklish. Also, she had balls now. Weird had just noticed that. Messy, Twilight finished for her, wiping off some cum stains from her snout. She was really going to have to give her coat a good washing before the semen dried and started flaking. Well, you look rather cute like that, Luna giggled, lifting her torso up and giving Twilight's cheek a lick. Swirling the bit of cum she collected with her tongue in her mouth, Luna gulped.
That's not nice.
No.
Delicious. How did you manage to get the taste like that? I have no idea. I'm just surprised so much managed to come out, Twilight said, not looking forward to the deep wash she was going to give her mane to clean the semen out. Heh, I guess I'm gifted like that, Luna chuckled, glancing down to admire her long length. It was only proper that a princess gets a large cock after all. As she admired it, she noticed it was no longer rigid.
Hold on. What sentence? It's only proper that a princess gets along. Girl.
As she admired it, she noticed it was no longer rigid, the familiar throb of blood or whatever type of magic not flowing through as fast as before. Hey, Twilight, why is it shrinking like that? Because it's going flaccid, Twilight explained, lifting up a cum-stained eyebrow at the princess. Didn't you know that? It usually happens to a stallion after orgasming. Oh, yeah, sure. I remember, Luna quickly said, poking at her limp dick hesitantly. Both her hooves at either side of it, she fumbled around with it in her hooves, feeling quite awkward with her new implement. Damn it! How do stallions deal with these things? Usually they don't have one quite so big, Twilight chuckled, nearly bursting out laughing at the sight of Luna playing with her dong like it was a sex toy. Noticing she still had a bit of cum left over at the tip of her dick's head, Luna decided she wanted the hardness to return. Shrugging, she dove in and sucked off her own cock. Over an example of good flexibility. She only managed to get a few inches in her mouth, but in only a couple of licks and prods of her own tongue, she was on the path to an erection once more.
Oh god.
Boy, I like where this is going. Larry Longston approves.
Twilight was watching the proceedings with the fascination of a young, pubescent colt would have with a porno magazine. Just watching the princess pleasure herself, taking in her own cock and licking it up like a whore. Before Twilight knew what she was doing, her hoof was parting her lower lips to service her already wet nether
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Releasing her dick with a trail of saliva connecting her mouth to it, Luna noticed Twilight rubbing herself off. Grinning with a hungry look that one orgasm wouldn't be able to fill, Luna approached the horny unicorn for further fun times in store. Well, now that we got that out of the way, ready for round 2? Luna asked, getting to an upright position on shaky hooves as her dick hung out like a fifth leg. I didn't get much of a round 1 now, did I? Twilight asked, enjoying the seductive back and forth banter they shared. For a moment, she wasn't just some bookworm librarian, and Luna wasn't a princess. They were both just lovers, looking out for a good time. Luna chuckled, focusing on Twilight's growing wetness. No, but you're getting excited from what I can see. Care to have some real fun then? Only if you can handle it, Twilight teased, growing bolder in their exchange. The dirty talk always got her off the most for some reasons. Nodding her head, Luna's horn glowed, her devious smirk never leaving her lips. Oh, I surely can. You, however, are still up to the question. The air shimmered behind Twilight's back, the glow of magic taking the form of real objects. First, a rope, which quickly wrapped itself around Twilight's body,
What?
trapping forelegs against her sides.
What?
Escalated quickly.
Going with the bondage approach this time? Twilight asked, her growing arousal hastened by the kink of being tied up. Am I really such a naughty mare? Yes, and now you must be punished.
Oh boy.
Luna spoke, the next object to appear being a large and wide wooden paddle. Even though I am a princess, I have no mercy for disobedience in my kingdom. Twilight got chest on the floor, turning her body around and sticking her rump in the air for Luna to marvel at. Switching.
Hey, wait, hold on. Remember that dance Twilight did for Cadence in the season 2 finale? I have images of that now.
Swishing her tail so that it fell along her backside, Twilight looked behind herself and winked. Then dish me out a good punishment, princess. I've been a really bad mare.
Oh god.
Blushing brightly from such cheesy porno lines, Twilight rolled her eyes as Luna squeed in glee. The princess was still unused to such cliched aspects of foreplay, so it was quite easy to get her excited. Walking over to Twilight, Luna saddled up, laying her forelegs on either side of Twilight's delicious booty. Twilight raised her body into position by standing on her back legs with her hooves now on Twilight's sides. This was followed by an awkward silence and even awkwarder fidgeting. Twilight, do I just stick it in there? Luna asked, against Twilight's wet folds, but managed.
No, you have to follow the user manual. Duh.
She actually had to lean her body backward just to get enough distance to get the head near her lower lips. Yeah, just like with the strap on, Twilight said, shivering at the hot touch of Luna's dick brushing up against her. Much different than a plastic toy, that's for sure. Just shove it in there. Not all the way. I'm pretty sure that's physically impossible. Nodding her head eagerly, Luna gave a quick smack of Twilight's ass with the paddle. Sing slightly. Twilight's eyes squeezed shut when she felt the head of Luna's shaft finally penetrating.
Oh god.
Go slowly, okay? Twilight asked.
I want to do the moans from now on.
Feeling Luna's grip tighten as she got in a better position for proper thrusting. Luna answered with another slap of wood against ass. Now you don't speak while being tied up, remember?
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Now you have to be extra punished. Twilight sighed and rolled her eyes, expecting the usual routine to go with Luna. Maybe lending her those porno tapes wasn't the best of ideas. She was practically rehearsing the lines right from the videos. Grinning with a hungry look in her eyes, Luna shuffled close, arching her back to thrust her hips forward. Twilight practically squealed like a little filly, the sudden entry of such a large package nearly causing her to drop to the floor. Good thing Luna was holding her up, the unicorn just relaxing her head and chest on the floor. Oh, so this is what a tight cooch feels like, Luna said happily, the warm walls of Twilight's vagina wrapping around her shaft, causing Luna to feel a high sensation of pleasure shoot up from her member right to her brain. Hearing Twilight whimper, Luna started slapping the paddle willy-nilly along Twilight's flank, her ass soon taking on the same shade of red as her face.
Hey, Jeremy.
What?
I never expected this fanfic to use the term willy-nilly.
I don't think anybody did. Continuing the fun, Luna pulled back slowly, disappointed she barely got even half the length inside Twilight. Sheesh, I could have lubed up if I wanted to pound you. Just about to... Twilight was cut off when she felt Luna push back in, her folds stretched to their limits trying to take in the large girth. The only sound able to travel out of Twilight's mouth now were screams of carnal lust and moans for more. Twilight obliged her lover's unsaid request for more, stopping
Luna.
stopping near the head and thrusting back in with gusto. The princess smiled in delight.
That's another word I didn't expect. Gusto.
The princess smiled in delight with the extra few inches she was able to get stuck in there. Twilight being extra naughty and was leaking out more and more. "Aw, has the little mare had enough?" Luna asked, her domineering attitude taking hold as she whacked Twilight's red plot once more with the paddle, eliciting another scream from her bound lover. Twilight cooed, shaking her head rapidly to show how she wanted much more than that. Good. Luna quickened her pace, wanting to get even more off the addictive high of having an entirely new sexual organ treated by such a delightfully tight snatch.
Oh my God.
Twilight just went with the motions, the warmth and twitches of Luna's dick an irresistible sensation, especially with the added-on benefit of being hit in the ass like that. Who would have guessed a reclusive bookworm and the princess of an entire nation would both be big BDSM fans? Luna was loving every second.
did.
What?
What?
You
No.
want me to, look, I made the bet. I lost. I'm owning up to it. Quit interrupting me, please.
But it makes it more fun.
No, Torrent, shut up.
Okay, fine.
Go on.
Luna was loving every second of being with the schlongs to pound Twilight with. It was much more physical than any simple strap-on or plastic toy could serve them with. Much more intimate, much more desirable. Plus, the feel of skin sliding against skin was to die for. Twilight could barely even feel anything past her legs, except for the vaginal pounder of doom that Luna was thoroughly enjoying.
Vaginal pounder of...
The unicorn just took it like a common whore, bending her hindquarters up to be pleasured by her feudicized lover. Something had already formed beneath the pair, a combination of both their sexual juices. Luna was probably going to make her clean that up too with her tongue. Feeling a familiar twitch in her lower regions and a shiver of her legs, Luna realized she was close to the edge. So was Twilight by the look of her pants and moans growing higher in volume. Each slap of the paddle only turned her on more, her growing arousal driving her close to her limit. "I'm about to come," Twilight shouted, her legs trembling as Luna quickened their pace. The dick of unreasonably large length only went in halfway so far, and even then Twilight felt a sharp spike of pain, muffled by the pleasure each time Luna thrust. But now Luna wasn't holding back. Her urge to orgasm as well was driving her to stick as much of her rod in Twilight's hole as possible. Me too," Luna grunted, moving at a feverish pace of vigorous thrusting just to get off quicker. The soreness in her dick returned, the entire shaft twitching while staying rigid at the same time. "My dick is gonna blow!" What felt like an entire wall of semen pushed through her shaft, followed as Luna came, squirting from her other sexual organ as well, as the one currently in use shoved itself as far as it could in Twilight. The bound unicorn was sure that her pussy was being ripped to shreds by how much Luna was penetrating into her. That was the pushing point she needed to come, her juices leaking out in a trickle out of her blocked vagina. Feeling relief instantaneously with her release, Twilight's eyes went wide as she felt a load of warm semen go inside of her, followed by another, and another, each load filling her up more than she'd ever felt with a typical stallion. She was sure she was going to be spitting out cum at the rate she was being filled with.
Oh, God.
With a final quiver and
It's
twitch.
in her vagina.
With a final quiver and twitch, the river of sperm stopped. The sticky white torrent sped from Luna's dick. Huffing and puffing deep breaths of air, Luna pulled out, their combined sexual juices leaking out of Twilight's sore cunt. Resting on her sweaty rump, Luna examined her slowly limping dick. The rush of blood finally on its last run as the member turned soft. Looking over at Twilight, the princess sheepishly noticed her ass was still raised to the sky, her pussy wide open and covered in semen and female juices, along with a very red hue to her normally purple-colored cheeks. Both mares lay where they were, Twilight falling all the way to the floor and panting as her orgasm petered out. Luna was content to just lay back and enjoy the last verges of her sexual bliss, thanks to her new Futa creation. Finally, after several minutes of pants and gasps for air as their heart rates went down, Twilight spoke up. Well, that was different. Yeah, Luna agreed, gulping hard as she stared at the still bound Twilight. Suddenly, a really naughty idea sprung up in her head as her horn began to glow. Twilight was whisked in the air, falling back to Luna's lap. Struggling in her bonds, she felt the hot press of lips against her own. Shrugging, Twilight embraced Luna with her lips in their kiss, both their tongues traveling in each other's mouth to explore every inch. After several seconds of locked lips and passionate kissing, Luna broke off with a devious smirk on her face. Arching an eyebrow at her strange behavior, Twilight asked, what was that for? The good time you gave me, Luna answered, wiping a smudge of semen from Twilight's cheek. And to distract you while I got the Futa book from behind your back. What? Twilight yelled, glancing back and facing the book, open on the last page she just used. The Futa spell. I was thinking I could pay you back for giving me a dick. So now we'll both have dicks, Luna said cheerfully, hugging a worried-looking Twilight close while a cold sweat ran down the unicorn's neck. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up a quote. Hold on.
My brain hurts.
Vaginal pounder of doom. Hey, wait, Doug, I need you to do me a favor.
Listen. I'm gonna reread that last paragraph. I was thinking I could pay you back for giving me a dick. So now we'll both have dicks, Luna said cheerfully, hugging a worried-looking Twilight close while a cold sweat ran down the unicorn's neck.
The button has been doubled!
The end!
Dude, Doug, I need you to do me a favor.
What?
I want you to,
Okay, kill record.
Wait, no, when you're done recording, go back to the part where Jeremy says, I'm about to come, and please send me a clipped audio of that, so I can put it on my computer, and just play it for Jeremy till the end of time.
Please don't.
So, hey Jeremy, what? I'm about to come.
Well, viewers, this has been JohnnyCajxrt.
This has been JohnnyCajxrt reading Futa Your Luna.
Thanks for watching.
What about me?
Fuck you, Torrent.
Screw you too, dog. I'm gonna go make my own audio recording with black jacket hookers.
And this has been the Arisoner. Thanks for watching. I hope all your brains are dead now. Bye!
No thanks for watching.